This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, before we jump into the most obvious topic, which is the Meghan and Harry interview, let's talk about Black Messiah, the Judas and the Black Messiah movie that we watched.
Yep.
So we just recently checked out Judas and the Black Messiah. Basically, the premise is this guy who gets taken in by the cops he's not really working for the cops, but he gets taken in by the FBI.
Well, the cops, I think, and then the FBI came in because I think he was using a fake badge, right?
Right. And all right, so he gets caught for that. He's a carjacker and he used the FBI badge in order to make it easier to jack other people's cars. And from there, they put him as an informant for the Black Panthers. What's the guy's name?
Fred Hampton? The Black Panther guy?
Yeah, Black Panther guy.
Yeah, Fred Hampton.
So they put him with Fred Hampton in order to I guess keep an eye on him. And
we'll get inside information.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah, totally. He's just an informant.
As a confidential informant.
Yeah. So I guess one of the things that really blew my mind from that movie was realizing, I guess we were on a string of it, right? Because the week before we watched 12 Years a Slave, Hidden Figures, and then now this movie, the touring movie as well.
Yeah.
Even though that's not about oppressed Black people, it's about oppressed gay people, but still the oppression's there.
Some form of oppression.
Yeah. But it was crazy to watch that movie, and then in watching that movie, I had that revelation of oh, this is actually a colonial world, you know, even though it's Native Americans were here first, and then the colonials came and they colonized it, and then they brought in Black people as slaves and other races and stuff. Really, the system that we're living in right now that was built up is a colonial system, you know. And when we talk about systemic racism, of course there's going to be systemic racism because the system itself is a colonial system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're
built off of that.
Right? So I totally get the plight of the Southerners when they're talking about it's their land, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Technically it's their system, it's not their land, because Native Americans were here first. But they didn't actually claim ownership to it. I was listening to this Native American podcast on Crazy Horse, and basically what the colonials would do is they would say, because they couldn't read, so they're like, hey, this contract says this, and then just sign this piece of paper. And then later when they found out that the stuff that they agreed to wasn't actually in there, you know?
Yeah.
It's little underhanded tricks. They were just using these things for ways to gain further control where there was no control before, through a legal system. You know what I mean? It's well, this contract says that you gave it to me, this land, but it's but I'm illiterate. How could I
know what it says?
Yeah. What are you checking out?
No, nothing. I was just seeing the IMDb of all their names and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it's trippy to think about it like that, because it's yeah, they did all these underhanded tricks. And then even in the book that I'm reading now, also about Crazy Horse, they were saying like the elders were like the white man has a lot to trade, but I don't trust the white man. And I was like, why would that be? And then we watched Judas and the Black Messiah, and I was like, oh yeah, they're totally just running tricks on us. Like they're using their own people to like spy on them, and they don't want like an uprising because they don't want to lose their way of life. Remember they said that was like a big part of the movie. So it's like, why would you be afraid of losing your way of life? Because you know you're in control.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, this was, but what was interesting there was also he was bringing in people of all different ethnicities too.
The underserved, like he had the Puerto Ricans, and then the poor white people, and then him.
Yeah, and then the black suffering too. So to bring them all together, and protest against cops, which is still happening now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right? Like when they went to the, I guess it was like the, I don't want to say it's the KKK meeting, but like that Southern meeting, remember?
Yeah,
like,
Confederate flag.
Yeah,
guys.
and then they were like, "What are you guys doing here?" And then the Fred Hampton guy was connecting their suffering together, you know, because like even though they're white, but they're still like underprivileged white people.
Yeah. So
like they didn't have money. They felt as much oppression as other people did, other minorities did. Yeah, it's crazy, like to see how much like trickery is going on behind the scenes. And it wasn't even surprising when like some of them were dying. It's like, yeah, you chose to play that game, you know?
Right.
It's like, but then they would say like, what, you don't want to stand up for freedom? And it's like,
well, they were using words like, you know, I did like some of those speeches.
I'm a revolutionary. That was a really good, it was filmed really well.
I'm a revolutionary. Or that like, they can kill freedom fighter, but they can't kill freedom.
Right.
Or murder freedom, like that. Like those sort of lines were pretty powerful messages. Right. So that was already saying, but you would use rhetoric like he was using rhetoric like killing the cops, but like he meant in a different way. But you can interpret it different ways. Right.
Because even there was that one time when what's the dude's name? The Black Judas guy.
His name is Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just call him Bill.
Well, his name is Bill.
Wild Bill.
Oh yeah, they called him Wild Bill.
Yeah. So Bill, he brought like C4 and he's like, let's blow up the courthouse. But he was trying to like get him
to say tape. That he wanted to do that.
Yeah, but he was like, no, this is not the way we're gonna do it. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like how far do you want? Like Bill was like, how far do you want to take this? You know, if you really want to change, like we have to destroy their systems. Right. But also at the same time, it's like you're living in that system. I don't know. It's very tricky to me.
Well, they were living in the system they were brought in there, right? They didn't choose to.
But there were other people who like accepted their place.
Yeah.
You know, because
not everyone agreed because he was following this. Yeah. Like a lot of his political ideology was very like a socialist ideology, right?
Right, exactly.
And there was a lot of already like I guess viewpoints against socialism even then, right? Against the Russians or the Chinese.
Right, totally. Yeah. But I mean, like if you actually look at what socialism is, there's a lot of good aspects to socialism, like universal health care, education, stuff like that.
Right.
That's a socialist policy.
Yeah.
You know, but
there, it's a mixed thing. That's kind of, if it's only socialist, tends to become more communist.
But we learned this in school too. It's like they're all mixed economies.
They're all mixed economies. There's no one is a true socialist
or true capitalist.
True capitalist. Yeah.
They're all mixed. So it's like, which way are you?
No, it's just like how much percentage of each do you need?
But why does that have to be a bad thing? You know, to be a socialist. Actually, I remember I brought this up once, like in one of those. I know I talked about this last week, but during those, those like sensitivity meetings that we had to do, and then I brought up like, well, how do we because they were like ripping on a lot of capitalist structures, but they didn't realize they were ripping on it in that meeting.
Okay.
So I was like, so how do we all feel about socialism? And then it just like shut up. And the one guy was like, I'm gonna leave now. And he just like left the meeting.
Okay.
It was a Zoom meeting, so it was like whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like awkward. But if you actually understand it, it's like you're all talking about socialism, but you don't want to admit that you want to be socialists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what's like just because the branding was bad? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you're a communist, you know? I was like, what?
Could be if you've been always thinking socialism and connects to communists, right? If you fall for that kind of rhetoric.
Yeah.
But I guess if you say socialism like Denmark or Norway, I think they would agree with that.
Yeah, but it's like a weird hot button issue. Also, they were all colonial. I was the only one who is not. So like at the same time, I know like what's like there are socialist government structures in Asia more so than like in the West.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, it can't be that bad because like they're run this way. You're just getting a bad rap. Like in Asia, some things are good, some things are bad, you know?
Yeah.
But like it's not all like, you know, like we jump to such like black and whites.
Yeah, I don't think that's everyone necessarily, but yeah, that is like what's kind of talked about in the media. It's more like black and white. Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's like terrible because then you can't.
Because if you hear the right side, right people rhetoric, they always bring up Venezuela. But then if you actually hear the left side, they bring up Norway and Denmark.
Yeah, so it's like, why are you going to pick the horrible extreme, bro?
Yeah. But that's what they will always do, though.
Yeah. Propaganda.
But then they'll be all about free market, but free market doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like, you have to have some regulations.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. It can't be fully free. Anyways, what tripped me out in the movie was that they were 21.
Like at the end. I didn't. I thought
like,
they were older and maybe in their 30s. Or...
Yeah, I was like, dude, you're 21. What do you know about anything? You are an uprising. I don't want to say fascist, but like you're, you know what I mean? Like your ideology is so staunch at that point.
Yeah, it's still very limited.
Because you're 20.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
But who do you think is doing most of the protests today?
20-year-olds?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. So it's, there you go again. When you hit your, like, when you get older, you're kind of like, you see more.
You have more priority. You have a job, or you have other things to worry about. Right. When you're young, you're still living at your parents, and
you can do those things.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because that's actually what killed the 60s. Remember the 60s revolution, and then like everyone's like free, whatever.
Yeah.
Those people actually grew up, and then they started getting jobs, and that's what killed that movement. Literally.
Yeah.
If you look into history, that's what killed the movement.
But that's generally
they got mortgages, children, and they had to pay for it. They're like, why am I gonna champion like a broken system for my child?
It's generally like that, actually. Like generally, the younger, most of the time, it's always younger people that will be more
naive,
and very leftist type politics.
Yeah, true.
But then as they grow older, it changes.
Yeah, that's generally more like world experiences, understanding.
Yeah.
I think the biggest,
and more about like understanding compromise. It's not just
compromise. That's what it is. Yeah, totally. So like, you can't have your full ideology. What are you gonna break the entire system? The whole world is run
like for instance, like for instance, running like I get it. Like they want to run on free healthcare for the Democrats in these major cities, but it's not gonna work in like states like Georgia. They won Democrat, but they didn't run on free healthcare.
Right.
So, but like this is like different parts of America is different too.
Right. Totally. Yeah, for sure.
So that's why that's what I mean by that is like that's the whole point of compromising and coming to agreements on certain things and not agreeing on others. Right.
Right. Totally. But not even just in America, but like all around the world.
Yeah.
As you get older, you start to see more experiences that lead you down different paths. And like we were saying before, that direct experience is the biggest like lesson. Like you can understand something through knowledge, but then unless you've like lived it, if you've experienced it, you understand it at a deeper level because you know what it really means, you know? So like even in my own case, like I keep championing like Taoism.
Yeah.
Right. But Taoism is just like yin and yang, like duality, compromise.
Yeah.
Basically, that's really what it is, right?
Mhm,
Because it's like you can't have one way or the other. You have to have both ways.
Right.
Right. And I remember like younger, it was like, well, why do we need these systems of like jobs or whatever? And then and then I was like, okay, let me get a job, see what that's like. And then getting a job, it's like, oh, this is also really good. So what is the middle ground here? You know?
Well, yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
the
Like,
balance of both.
but like when I was younger, it was like, no, everyone should be like free, like being a freelancer. It's like you're completely mobile, but there's also no safety net.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then as a job, you're like chained, but there's a safety net.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can you do as a middle ground now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's through like experience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, where the middle ground comes, for instance, like we didn't have weekends before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the workers' rights for,
Right. Yeah.
you know, fighting for these types of, so you got 2 days off, only 8 hours, like rules are like 8 hours a day, or it's like overtime
Right.
for that. So there's things like, these are the things, and then I think these things keep changing.
Like
So
work-life balance now is flex hours.
Yeah.
People have those things. And
Well,
stuff.
now, yeah, especially working from home. There's
Yeah,
a lot
totally.
of that is flex hours there, yeah.
Right. Totally. Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting, like looking back at that, like just like the 60s movement, it's like, you know, something, you can know something ignorantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it sounds good, but it's never been into practice. So you don't know
Right.
what it's actually like. So like this free love society that these hippies were talking about, it's like, yes,
Yeah.
but how long will that be sustained? You know? And what kind of system will you have at the end of that?
Right. I mean, you can have a rosy idea of the future.
Yeah,
or what
rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they were literally wearing rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were.
But then once you like actually live in the world of reality, then you see like it can't always work like that. Like there
Yeah,
is
true.
going to be a compromise.
It's always gray. There's no
Yeah.
black and white.
Yeah.
But it's crazy too. Like even that statement, there's no black and white, there's always gray. Like you don't, again, that's just a trite statement. But if you've actually like directly experienced it, you know that it's all gray.
Right.
But that's why Nietzsche said there's no good and evil. Like his book Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
Because it's just like constructs in your head.
Yeah. And these things change
Over time. Yeah, totally.
over time.
Yeah. Interesting. What else? What else about the movie like struck you?
I think it was interesting from because it was mainly from Bill's perspective, right? The whole thing. So his struggle of like, I don't know if he even believed it necessarily in the
But he
cause,
was falling for it.
but was he falling for it? But he was at the same time scared of getting caught.
True. Yeah. Survival.
Survival, because yeah, I guess it makes sense at the end. Maybe
When he killed himself.
yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, that I don't think he wasn't happy with what he did. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. No.
definitely.
Right,
Or
like
maybe he was scared now that because he did the interview and
could
he
have
killed
been
himself
that.
when it
Could have
aired.
been that. Yeah.
He's like, somebody else is gonna kill me. Might as well do it myself.
Or the FBI did it.
Or the FU. That's true. Yeah, that's another. Actually, that's really what was eye opening too. Aside from it being like a colonial system that we're in, it really made me realize that there's a lot of stuff at higher levels of government that are gray. You know, it's like we can't say it's good or bad, but it's like they're running on a system that we're not seeing. Like for example, spies. Like that's why I love spy movies. Like CIA stuff is like totally questionable.
Yeah.
You know, like flipping informants, stuff like that, or like so like in the movie, one thing they did was the informant. So Bill thought that they caught an informant and killed him.
Yeah.
But the person who caught him and killed him was the informant.
Right.
And then what they were doing was, if that guy was in a place, they could storm that place because it's technically like they have.
He's got a warrant on him or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like he's
yeah.
tied to a murder, so like wherever he goes, they can technically enter as well now.
Yeah.
So it's like, look at this crazy game you guys are playing. It's like a legal game. What's going on?
Right.
Or like so many examples throughout history, like Looming Tower, right? Like CIA didn't talk to the FBI, and then that's what 9/11 happened. You're like, Or like the Charles Manson book that I read, The Chaos, where like they're experimenting like with mind control substances and LSD, see if they can create Manchurian candidates. You know, Manchurian candidates are like, they're assassins, they don't know they're assassins.
Right. That was what the Bourne is all about.
Oh yeah, Bourne Identity. Yeah, that's exactly what that was. Yeah. So it's like if they're doing this at higher levels of government, what is good and bad? We're like, it really makes you think we're just pawns in the game.
Yeah.
That they're moving around.
Right. I mean, what's good and bad will be based on what the country needs. That's all.
Exactly, and that's what it always comes down to, right? And if it's bad to us, but you don't want to do it, like if it's good for the country, bad for us, it's treason.
Right.
So it's like, if you don't want to play ball for your country, it's treason. Crazy. Yeah. Daniele Bolelli on his podcast said like, rules are there only. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's like rules are there only for the lower level, but then as you get higher, you realize like there are really no rules.
Right.
Because they're making up the rules.
Right. Unless you like,
there's just justifications.
There are justifications, but normally, if you go against the upper class, then they will go against you.
Yeah,
like if
true. The ruling body. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder like how much like power does a president, prime minister have?
Yeah. I mean,
like you're only in it for 4 years, but then there are people that have been working in the government for like 60 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know what's going on.
Right. And I mean, you're not picking the people in the FBI. You're not picking the people in CIA. That's based on, they will be there. It doesn't matter what president is there.
Totally. I know we keep like referring it to American related stuff, but it's happening around the world too. Like there's a version of Canada's CIA as well.
Yeah.
And FBI. They just call them different names. Like for Russia, it's the KGB, right? Or the Spetsnaz, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, so it's not just like, even though we keep referencing America, it's just one example, but they're all.
That's right. That's the
world.
thing. I think
MI6 in Britain.
Right. So like that's the thing. Yeah, we keep. I guess we should remember that. Yeah, it's in other countries too. It's not just in America.
It's just mostly popularized in America.
Right. Well, because they talk about it all the time.
Yeah, this is where spy movies come from. And
yeah. So, but right, and we shouldn't also create that
idea of like
idea that it's
evil.
Only America's that's evil when it's
no, totally. Like
I think we brought that up before, right? Like when they left Vietnam, who came into Vietnam? Like China,
right?
Was trying to take over.
So it's like
which is better? Which is was only better for what country it's better for, right?
Right. Totally. Yeah.
So.
It's almost like there are power countries like China, Russia, USA, and then there are like countries that are the battlefield. You know what I mean? Like Vietnam's just a battlefield.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's gonna take control of that one?
Right.
Sort of like that game Risk. Remember Risk?
Yeah.
And then you'd like fortify your powers at different areas and stuff. It's kind of like that.
And you're taking over the world, right?
Yeah, essentially.
And you gotta attack based on where you've got the best chance of winning.
Yeah. And the most forces
strategic.
in that one.
Yeah, it's all strategic.
That was a good game, though.
That was a good game.
Yeah. Played that a lot in your garage. The movie, I wanted to bring this up. It reminded me of The Departed. Like I said that when we were watching it too. But so Departed was fictional, but I wonder if they wrote The Departed based on things that they've researched like this.
I think so. It probably is some grain of truth to these sort of things, because there's informants, because you find corrupt cops, but why are they corrupt? They're working for the other guy, right?
Right. So if you ever watch Departed, and you haven't seen Judas and the Black Messiah, essentially it's that movie. Like not exactly, but like
it has that same feeling and like the same vibe to it.
Yeah. We're trying to keep secrets.
Right. The only difference was, I think, they were. Like he was in this movie, he's a convict. Like they were chosen by the FBI, right, to become an informant, where these other ones were like they were put into the system to be the informant.
Right, totally. We should watch that movie again. I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Departed.
Yeah, there were some lines in that movie I remember too.
Yeah.
like when you're at the other side of the gun, doesn't matter who it is on the other.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, that's
is it a
good. One.
cop or a criminal?
I was thinking about the workout scene when he's in jail.
I don't remember that.
He used the books to do dips.
Okay.
And then that's where I got my idea. I was like, oh, I could just do dips with chairs now. Like, yeah. It's funny what we gravitate towards, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm like focused on like the fitness aspect of that movie.
Yeah, I'm getting the word lessons.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, but it's crazy, like, because you watch Departed and you're like, that's not real, you know?
Right.
Because it's a movie.
Yeah.
But then you watch this movie and you're like, oh, this happened.
Yeah. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's what they say, right?
That's what they say.
But what's crazy is like, I get why they call it Judas and the Black Messiah, because he was like very close to him. He was close to what was his name? Yeah, I'm really bad at names.
Fred Hampton.
Yeah, Fred Hampton. And then the
leader of the Illinois Black Panther Party.
Yeah, and then what they did at the end was they didn't poison him, but they put him to sleep so that
I don't know if it was
up.
a poison or like really a deep sleep. Is it?
Maybe it was Xanax. Maybe just gave him like a crazy Xanax.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just didn't wake up.
Yeah, they didn't kill anybody else, but they only killed.
No, I think they killed some people.
No. Not if they didn't come out or whatever, right? But like.
No, they killed people, but they murdered him. Yeah. That's the differentiation you're making. They didn't murder other people.
Right.
But they killed because like people were shooting, remember? And then they shot them back.
Yeah, but they didn't. In the last scene, they didn't, because they were still alive.
Yeah, they didn't murder anyone.
Yeah,
but they killed people for self-defense when they were breaking in.
Yeah.
Like
but not everyone. Not everybody died.
No, yeah, right. But they like straight up murdered Fred Hampton.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
It's very intense. And then they showed his son, right, at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he's
now a part of the Black Panther or something.
Yeah.
He's a chairman or something.
Yeah, of that Illinois party. Yeah, trying to build it back up again.
It's so interesting. You think about Black Panther, and then you think about Marvel's Black Panther, and then what that movie meant.
Oh yeah,
that's
true.
Like,
that's true.
It was their. Yeah, you know what's funny? Remember when Crazy Rich Asians came out, similar time, and they were like, "This is our this is our Black Panther movie for Asian people," because it was like. It was all Asians. But it's what I'm saying is it's funny how Black Panther was about the struggle, and Crazy Rich Asians, even though it was our version of Black Panther, it was more about like what they spend their money on, because like Asian people have a lot of money, you know.
Right.
It's like supposedly stereotype.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not even stereotype. We live in a predominantly Asian area, and it's like we're McLarens driving around and stuff.
Yeah, but again, not necessarily everyone, but. Yes.
But still, it's like, whoa. I like name another part in Toronto, like as I'm driving around, right? Like this is the only place where I've seen so many crazy rich cars.
Yeah. I don't know well enough to
on a crazy frequency.
Yeah.
If you're just driving down, just drive down Yonge and Shepherd, all the way to Yonge and Finch, like that whole strip.
Yeah.
It's like Korean shops and also just high end cars, which is mind blowing. Yeah.
And then one block away, it's way different.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just that once. It's just our one strip is weird, you know. Yeah, I was driving. Side note: I was just driving because I followed these like Aston Martin cars, just like because they're fascinating on Instagram. And then I was like driving. I'm like, what car is in front? And I was like, it was like a McLaren. That's why I brought up McLaren before, because I remember seeing it, and I was like, wow, this is only a car you see on Instagram that not everyone will afford, like only super rich people will afford, even if they're renting it. So like some people are like, they're just renting it, or you still have to pay for the rental,
right?
So I'm sure you don't own it, but it's a lot of money still.
Yeah.
It's a lot of throwaway money.
I mean, we see a lot of different ones here when they actually change put a skin on it and stuff, right?
Oh, that's
so that means they
own
that one.
They repainted it, put the cat ears on it, and stuff. Yeah. It's almost like they all live in the same building too. That one that's like, I don't want to give it away, but you know, like when you're walking towards Subway, and then like that one tall building, and then there's the coffee shop in the bottom.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of that go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just come out of that garage thing. Like as we're walking Athena in the morning, you see like all the crazy cars coming out of that spot. And you're like, who lives in this building?
Right.
Actually, I went one time, into that building. I didn't know. I thought I was trying to I thought it was like a cut I can cut through, and like somebody let me in. I didn't know it was locked. So like somebody let me in, and then I was like, dude, this has like chandelier and like velvet everything, and like I took the elevator, but you need like a key card. But it just looked like the most richest like hotel.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you have,
but it makes sense.
Owners that are there. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Total side note. Yeah. Yeah, good movie. I think I get why he won the Golden Globe for that one.
Yeah.
He was a really good actor. The Fred Hampton guy. He's a good actor. What's his name? He was in Black Panther as well. Get Out.
Yeah, his name, like real name, Daniel. I don't know how to say his last name. Kalu.
He's a British actor, right?
Kalua. Yeah. Daniel Kalua.
Yeah. Good guy.
Yeah, British actor. Yeah, it was hard to hear sometimes because of his accent. Trying to put on the.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree with that.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it. Yeah, it's great. It's just mind-boggling to me still, like what level of conspiracy goes on. Yeah. Anyways, so
well, yeah. I mean, at that point, yeah. Now there's like they have black people within the FBI. There has been a lot of changes, but
like
still.
But now, what are you not seeing?
Right.
They're still just showing you what they're letting you. Like it's become declassified, right? So it's like, okay, we'll give you this one. But what ones are they not telling us about?
Right.
Not to fuel QAnon or anything like that.
Actually, there's a documentary I do want to watch on QAnon.
Oh, really?
Created by the HBO as well.
Okay, cool. Like we gotta watch the Free Britney thing too.
Yeah, I think we'll do like a whole documentaries episode maybe.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. We'll, like,
still have to see The Capitalist.
Oh, the corporation.
Oh, The Corporation. That's what it's called.
True. Okay. Anyway, so now I guess the main topic, which is the Meghan and Harry interview.
Right.
So basically they left the royal family. All this stuff happened. There was all these like tabloid things. And then they finally did their own interview about what it was like. And I would say that the interview on the whole was not shocking, but it was shocking. So it was not shocking because we all kind of knew it, but it was shocking because you affirmed what we knew. You know, about like the level of racism and like the fact that they can't leave. They're run by
I don't know. Okay,
media.
So yeah, the focus was really on the level of racism.
That's the one everyone jumped on because nobody wanted to focus on all the other stuff they were saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, even with the level of racism, when you brought that up, he was really adamant to not really want to talk about it.
The racism?
Yeah. Because she was saying got it from Harry, right? So, but Harry said, I don't want to talk about it.
Right, because he didn't want to like out the wrong
people. Yeah, but I was like...
Oh, he didn't want to shame them? Or what are you saying?
I don't know if he even wanted to really talk about that. Like, at all, even bring that up. It just happened. Right?
Oh, okay.
That...
He's like, you baited out my scene.
Yeah, but like, we don't know who it is. It could be like a weird like cousin or like an aunt or uncle. Right. Like when you don't give a name, at that point he didn't give a name, but they thought everyone in that family is racist.
Right. But then after, he clarified.
But he only clarified those two. So
it makes you wonder, like,
and also like these people, like even the Queen or his grandpa too. It's like they're from the old time, so it's probably they may have thought that too. Like
exactly. If so, now going back to the beginning of this podcast, it's like when we talk about a colonial system, the biggest colonial system is the British Empire, and who's like running the British Empire, the monarchs, which are the Queen and the King. Even though like they're separate from government,
right? But not as much as we think. Okay. Even though they're separate, they still have to talk to the Queen, I think, weekly.
Okay, yeah, but it's like figurehead.
No. But it's still like there's some things that is much more different than the other monarchs that still exist.
Okay.
Like the other monarchs are actual figureheads. They don't have anything to do with politics.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like this, them actually having to deal with, like going in to talk to the queen and what you're planning to do.
Right.
So that's actually.
But then she can veto it.
I again, I don't know the full power that she does have, but she can technically suggest things, I guess.
Is it sort of like I just have to tell you? That's it.
Yeah.
So, but she.
But
can't
I
do
don't
anything.
know if she can or can't do anything or not. Right. Like. Right. I don't know. Like. I'm not someone who's an expert in the monarch, how it works, but it's still like it's a bit more different than the other types of monarchs.
So basically, they just have to be in the know. That's what we know so far.
Yeah.
We don't know the extent of their vetoing power.
Yeah, because we don't know what happens in those meetings technically.
Right. Okay, so it's crazy. So one thing that blew my mind about that, we're like, okay, we know systemic racism. We know that they're racist. We know like implicit bias makes you racist, like subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't really delve into that.
Okay.
But some other things that I found really fascinating through that interview, like how he kept talking about it as the firm.
Yeah, she used the word. Oprah used that word first, I think.
But then like, what did he say? He's like the system. They kept calling it like basically it was like a corporation.
Yeah.
Like it's not people. Like you're working for the family, but not really the family. Like the unit or the corporation or the firm.
Yeah. They basically they're a company or a business.
Yeah, essentially that is what the royal family is. It's a business, right? So when they were explaining the level of, you have to be on, it's like, yeah, but you all, like in celebrityism, you have to be on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, it's like Hollywood on crack,
Yeah.
But there's crack in Hollywood, so it's like Hollywood on steroids. So you know what I mean? Like your every movement is judged. They'll tear you apart if they see anything.
Yeah.
And it's that, again, surprisingly not surprising, or not surprisingly surprising, whatever way you want to say it, because it's like we already knew that. It was just shocking that you're affirming that.
Mm-hmm.
Like because you see it with Billie Eilish and like Britney Spears, like the TMZ people, right? They take bad photos of you and then it ruins your image, right? But there's one thing to have your brand image on your own, and then another thing where your brand image affects an entire country.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they have to be super on.
Yeah.
You know, which is shocking.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why they're behind when they're not out in the public. They're behind that big castle, right? Right. Or inside the big castle. Nobody can see what's going on inside.
So again, shockingly unshocking, because it's like, or unshockingly shocking, whatever way you want to say it. But just like, it's like, of course, you like when you hear that, you're like, of course, it would have to be like that.
Yeah.
I
mean, really watching The Crown, you see all that.
Yeah, exactly.
It tells you what's because it's like in like some of the later seasons, it's like she wants to.
Go through the Queen story. Actually, that was fascinating.
Oh, like how she got into.
Yeah.
Well, this family wasn't technically in line to be like part of the head of the monarch, right?
Right.
It was her uncle, but then uncle left to, like, he wanted to marry someone else that the firm said no, right?
Right.
So he said, okay, well, I have to get my throne. So it went to his brother, and then thus current queen's father.
Yeah. And then with the father died young or something?
Father died young, so she just, like, was super young when she had to inherit the queen's position as the head of monarch, as a queen. Yeah.
So you in that show saw the struggles of someone trying to live up to an image.
Mm-hmm.
And
and she like, they know that this is a weird thing, but this is what they have to do in their viewpoint, it's like for the
good of the country,
good of the country.
Family.
Yeah.
Because like don't forget, like there's those like yearly things where the queen addresses you or something.
Though, yeah. There's so much in the image and what they say, like especially those Christmas things that they always do.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you don't realize that it's just like, I think everyone who doesn't really think about it, like they're on a superficial level, they're like, oh, it's the queen, right? But if you think of it on a deeper level, you're like, what are they going through? Like, this is totally staged. If you don't understand how like staging marketing works,
Yeah.
it's like this is marketing 101.
Yeah.
Why is she next to a fireplace with a piano? Like, you think that's really what you just caught her off guard,
they
like,
say
hello.
it. They go through it in that show. It's like what they want to show in that image.
That's what I mean. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like not shocking to find out that it's true.
Yeah.
You know, like you just watch the queen, you're like,
a lot of the show is based on actual like events that had happened, and other
Right,
people
exactly,
that were within the system.
so it's like marketing 101. Like you
No, like,
watch
yeah,
that
yeah.
show and you're like, it's
right.
all
Like it's just based on real events. Like a lot of the stuff was real.
But you see a lot of like public relations at work. Yeah, so
yeah, you do see that.
So people who haven't watched The Crown, you are like, you're looking at it's sort of like people who don't watch, you know how you and I watch a lot of behind the scenes movies, and they watch movies like, wow, that's so fascinating, and you're like taking it at face value, you're like, wow, but then if you see how what goes into it, you're like,
to make it and everything,
it's not real. You're like unveiling the wizard behind Oz.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what the interview did. It like on a grander scale, like for us it was unsurprisingly surprising, but for regular people it was just shocking,
right?
You know, it's like, oh, I've never thought of this. It's like, hello, is
right?
that the
So
way it works?
I think one of the things that was, I think why it was more shocking, because I don't think none of them has really spoken about that,
like what it's like to be
what it's like to be within the monarch, right?
Yeah,
because as she was saying that, oh, you can't talk to the press, or you can't go meet this person, know what they're gonna write. So they wanted to write their story, basically. This interview was to be the first of that, in the sense.
Totally, yeah.
Explaining it from their side of.
Is Meghan American?
Yeah, I believe she's American.
Okay, so here's a mind blow. They probably were pissed that he was getting together with her, because they're like, oh, that American mindset. You can't just like do your job and like.
It could have been like
you
that.
Know what I mean?
It could have been there.
Because think about it. Her indignation to not want to have to do what she's told is why we're now watching this interview. They probably knew that was going to happen.
Right.
They're like, we know, like in British society, it's important to be a royal. So if you marry a British person or somebody who's already in royalty, they understand what it's like. But it would be like me or you marrying like somebody in Hollywood, and then us being like, this is messed up. And then we go and do a tell-all. It's like, no, you can't bring people into the circle who don't understand it. That's also probably why it's important to hire the right people at jobs. Think about it.
Yeah,
right? Like,
of course.
Because you're like, don't rock the boat. Now looking back at those meetings with me and those colonials, and I'm rocking the boat, and it's like, we shouldn't have hired this guy. You know, right? Like, it's like, that is probably what it is. It's just more areas of control. You need like-minded people, because they could mess up your entire system.
Right.
And that's why there's a lot of yes men in like governance.
Right. It was a total shock to her. Like, oh, I don't understand.
Yeah, but it was a shock to her because she's not used to it.
Yeah.
But if they had hired, he had married a royal, she would have understood the game. So we just gotta play the game.
Right.
Well, it's kind of a mind blow if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because that's how our society works. I mean.
Yeah. But it was interesting to see how that for Harry, at least, it was what he was seeing was what happened to his mom.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, then that was crazy. She put that money away for him because she knew that he would probably need it one day.
Well, yeah, I think you do that generally for your kids, right? Your own kids.
Oh, so you're saying they like spun it?
I don't think anything was spun. It's just like that was already the money
like,
set aside for both of them.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Yeah. But like the media spun it like she knew this could have happened one day.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think it was just like accidental
that.
coincidence. But he even spun it like that. Remember, he's like, I felt like my mother knew. He said that.
You can say that, but you don't know that.
Okay, so
you can make that. You can make that connection, but not necessarily have it true, right?
Right, totally.
So I felt it was just like, sure, you can. She may have thought like that too. We don't know.
Yeah,
That's
a measured mindset right there. Like, he jumped to this conclusion. We're all jumping to it. Like, she knew it was bad, so she put this money away. And you're like, or she could have just put money away for her kid.
Right.
Like, we're attaching narratives to a story that
that's right.
happened.
We don't know, and we can't ask her. She's not here anymore, right? So
true.
And maybe she thought that. We don't. Anyways, but the thing is, like, he saw that, and I think, especially after his kid was born, that this is not a place to be raised in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it was you were saying, like, as we were watching, you're like, oh, I understand why he left it, because like he was with his wife in it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until they had their kid, and then you were like, oh, he's doing it for his kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that makes the most logical sense. Like, why did you snap just now?
Yeah.
You know, you guys have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He probably did look at his kid and saw, like, the karma of what he had to go through. He's like, I'm going to relive this karma, this, like, trauma.
I think if she was, again, she was saying, like, oh, I feel like suicidal, like these sort of thoughts. And he thought, like, he was in the public eye since a kid, right?
Yeah.
Carrying his mom's casket.
Yeah.
So that's that leaves an imprint in your head.
Yeah. So he's like, if you do that, our kid is gonna be carrying your casket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And
I went through it, and like the hell of it all. Like, he was crying, but then they're like, you can't cry right now because you're on.
Mm-hmm. You're like a machine. You're not human. Treated not human anymore. Like, it's, like what? I forgot. I was trying to mention, like with the queen now, it's like she can't just go talk to her kids. You have to set up a meeting.
Yeah,
and do it
totally.
like this. So
yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Remember when Megan was like, "Oh, we went to the HR department to like ask for help," and they're like, "Yeah, but you're not technically working for them, so we can't help you." It's like, wait, there's an HR department in a family, but because it's not really about the family, it's the image, it's the firm.
Yeah. It's the institution. That's what it's called. That's the word.
The institution. Yeah.
Because this institution was there before the queen. It's like they're just in that position.
Right.
Or born into that position, but they're not leading it.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like the story of Buddha, right? He was protected as a royal for his entire life, and then he saw somebody dying, and he was like, what, or sick, and he was like, what is this? And it blew his mind, so he like had to leave, you know? So like that was his enlightening moment where he was like, wait, I could just relive the same experience for my kid. We got to leave this situation because this is going to end up badly.
Right. And I feel like there was a lot of backlash to them too, right? There was a lot of sympathy towards them, sure.
Yeah, totally.
But there was also a lot of people that...
Oh, dude, when I went the next day to make those like social media posts, I was like YouTubing clips of the thing, and like it was just all why this is fake. Body language tells you that they're lying, and I was like, what the hell? There's like hundreds of videos of it,
right,
how it's not real.
Well,
she made him do it.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that she's
a relax,
brainwashed him and things like that.
No, what do you mean? It's like brainwashed. Like any sensible person would also be like, this is kind of messed up.
Right. I think what happens in the general public is more like, well, they had all the money in the world, and like
why
to see
right is because people are running off superficial levels. It's like
they had all the money in the world, and
to be fake.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that's, people will always do that though, right? Like why are you complaining? You had all this money. I don't understand.
You know what's interesting? Yeah, totally. I know. Because they don't realize that money doesn't solve all your problems.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Or what was that thing we said a long time ago? Money affords happiness. It affords happiness because you can buy things, but it isn't happiness. Money isn't happiness.
Yeah.
It can just afford you.
Right. So for them, they had the money, but they weren't in a method of being afforded happiness, though. They weren't free.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. They weren't free. Yeah. One thing that blew my mind was how much of a business it was. Because remember, they're like, we can't give you your security detail. We can't give you benefits.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what's the minimum we could do to keep our benefits?
Right.
That's just like a job.
Yeah,
all jobs do that, right? Like if I work part-time,
right,
I can still get like this discount? Like, yeah, for sure.
See, that's the thing. I don't.
It's a business,
Right,
you know?
right. So that's the thing. Like, how much power does the queen have into saying, okay, no, he can still have it, or like how?
Is she a CEO or is she a CEO or is she a board member or is she like a
But even
COO?
CEOs don't like they can have decisions on certain things.
No, that's what I mean. Like,
but
a
it's the
board,
shareholders
which is a
or board members that they have.
control the
Yeah, because they can kick out the CEO.
exactly. Well, they can they can kick out the CEO in regular business, but I was trying to relate it back.
I know.
You can't really kick her out, but
You can't directly kick her out, but
you could silence her.
mhm.
You just won't schedule those interviews. You just won't schedule.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't. Like, there's only so much you can show, I guess, or learn from on Crown. I don't know what actually.
But also, like,
So many
even
things on it.
in Black Messiah and The Crown,
Mm-hmm.
and like what happened with this, it's like they had speechwriters.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
of course.
even what we're seeing as a public, it was not even touched by them. Like,
Mhm.
remember her response, the Queen's response to the whole situation? Like, we were saddened by the fact that
Yeah.
blah blah blah. It was like, you didn't write that.
Right.
We build up these perceptions of like people in power.
It's not about them writing that. It's sure if someone else is writing that, but they have to approve it, right?
Right, but
Because it's technically your words now.
right. But what I'm saying is, like, as a general public person, we look at that and we're like, wow, they're so put together, they're so measured, like on a superficial level.
Yeah.
But if you don't understand how it works,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
it's always about appearances.
Yeah.
Like in business too, they do that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like you'll write something and you're like, yeah, you're right, you approve it, and then it's like, yeah, they said it.
Mm-hmm.
Or like you show them a clip that you shot and you're like, do you want this one to go out on your social media?
Well, yeah. I mean, they work on the speech. The reason is so they cover all their bases in what they're talking about.
But
right?
they don't
Like,
write it. Like,
no. I mean, they go through iterations, but they don't write it.
right? No. I've been in those situations where it's like the writer will come into the thing and be like, here's this, and then at the like in an hour you'll get revisions of like what you should include.
Right. But it's also like what you should mention. Almost everyone has, well, anyone in the like the president or anything, they have speechwriters, right? If you're gonna
In every business,
yeah,
like
in
CEOs.
business, sure, yeah,
all
because you want to represent things the right way, and they have like speechwriters are better at writing or writing these things out and know the right words.
totally.
Right.
But it's like it just more alluding to the fact that we live in a fake, superficial world.
Sure,
Right?
yeah,
Like,
but it's always been speech writing was always there.
no, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. It's like, yeah, it's like you don't actually know what Steve Jobs could have been illiterate. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
we look at him as this like genius person, but it's like he didn't put that presentation together.
But he's got to be the one
To
to
deliver
know
it.
what to talk about.
So you gotta be the
to-
best actor.
Yeah. But like, even the one writing it, they don't know everything. Like they go through it. What I mean by that is like for Biden, they would write something, but like no, like I don't think this should be said, or this we need to talk about that,
Right,
or I
so-
want to add
right.
this in here.
I
But
agree.
they know how to.
But that's why I like one long form discussions, because you can't like you can only give so many talking points. You know, that's why when you see TV, it's like 2-minute interviews.
Right,
you know,
right.
because we've only got enough for this amount of time.
Yeah.
But that's why,
Of course, yeah.
that's why I like long form discussions, and two, that's why I like Elon Musk,
I was about to say Elon Musk.
because he's the only one that I'm like,
Well, at least
I
feels like.
don't think you might be using a speechwriter. No, you're definitely not using a speechwriter.
No, I don't think so.
You're 100. Like, if you are, fire that person. Like, what are you doing? But he's so candid and genuine about his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because he knows at the end of the day, it's all about the product. It has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
In reality, like in a non-superficial world, right? That's why I respect him. He's been on Joe Rogan twice now, and like that's 3 hours.
It's still the same him. Yeah, it's
same
always
him.
been him.
And I watched like his interviews, and it's just like, you're the same guy. Like, there's no way you're getting coaching.
Right.
And if you are, fire those people, because your stock price. Remember when you like smoked the weed and then you like stock price went down,
Well, they texted him that why are you smoking?
and he's like, "Oh, whoops, didn't know." Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't understand that too. It's like, oh, I smoke weed, drop. What?
But yeah, true. Yeah, true. It's
Just,
so dumb.
again.
But I feel like we need to move towards a reality where that's the case. You're looking at people, like, remember Walt brought up meritocracy?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in meritocracy because it's like, what have you done that proves that you should be in this position?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many people that get like promotions or like getting put into spots where it's like, it was just because you like luckily got it, you know, or you weren't the right fit, but they gave it to you because, you know, X, Y, and Z, right? There's no merit there. Like, the merit is like, I just don't want to out certain people, but like, the merit there was not job related. See what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we go to the same church, or we're both Filipino. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right. So like, there's no real merit there other than your allegiance or your.
It's just a network.
Yeah, your network. Yeah, it was a network versus a merit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's what we should focus on as an objective society. That's where you gotta end up, which is an Elon Musk way. It's like he even said, you don't need to go to school. You just need a proven track record of like success. If you can show me historically that you've made these successes, chances are you're going to make more successes in the future. We'll hire you,
right?
Regardless if you went to school or not.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, yeah, that's you. We should run our society like that, but we don't. It's like, think about it. What has the queen done? Like meritocracy wise, what has she done?
Right.
Aside from inherited.
Yeah.
That's an archaic system.
Of course.
Yeah. Which is also like, I mean, I don't really want to get into it too much or like harp on it too much, but like religion, right? Oh, I talk to God. So now you're going to become a bishop or a pope.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Make no sense. Like, what merit is there other than being a really good liar? Because you're like,
right, or they believe I don't know. Well, yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. So,
but they're not doing anything technically of merit, anyways. So, like, they're not, like, it's theological stuff.
which is at its core arbitrary and superficial.
Sure.
Because if it's arbitrary, it's superficial. And if it's superficial, it's a lie. Just saying. Think about that one. Think about that one. Anyways, any other final thoughts on Meghan and Harry's interview?
It's more content for the crown.
That's true. Yeah. Are they continuing the series?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're in the Diana.
Oh, cool. All right. Nice. So, but it's not going to be like a Schitt's Creek canceled kind of thing?
At least they haven't canceled it yet.
Okay, cool. Well, Schitt's Creek didn't get canceled. They just ended it.
Okay.
This is the story we're going to end on.
Right.
Yeah, so, all right, cool.
At least not yet.
That's cool. How many seasons we got for The Crown?
I think there's like 5 seasons, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty short. How many episodes? 12?
Yeah, 10 per season, I think.
Cool. Hour long?
Yeah, they went through different times, so there's different actors for the queen.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
The young queen, and then like when she's at a certain different age, there's a different actor for her.
Right, makes sense. One thing before we end the Meghan and Harry thing, because I thought it was kind of funny, was how she related it to The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That was a little corny.
That was.
I get it. She's like, I lost my voice, but I gained it back.
Right.
It's like, all right. Cool. Oh, I also didn't know that she was an actress. Remember?
I don't know how you didn't know that.
Honestly, well,
I guess you weren't really focused.
I don't even care
that's
about
true
the
too.
royals.
We don't really care about that. I mean, I don't really care in the sense, like, I don't follow the actual royals.
Yeah, you just like the show, The
I
Crown.
like the show. Yeah.
But like, I have no idea what's going. Like, is only this interview, and then you start looking into it. You're like, oh, this is already. Yeah. But it's weird because like, you just look into it for 2 seconds. You're like, oh, this is messed up. Move on. You know, it's like, why is it still in the system? I'm sure it's in the system because it was systemically built up that way. It's the colonial enterprise.
Right.
So we're still propagating it, but it seems a little archaic to me.
I don't know when they switched to, like, the monarch over there switched to like allowing the
prime minister to do stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta watch The Crown. They'll tell you when.
Well, the Crown already started with that already there.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know when. Probably in the 1800s sometime. I don't know.
Oh, that they realized it was archaic.
That they needed to switch over to like this type of version of democracy for them, and not only be led by the monarch. So.
Yeah. Nothing else. You good?
No, yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. So just a quick confirmation on something we didn't bring up last week, but you were saying during it, I think you brought up like her being a lesbian.
Oh yeah. Raya.
Like, oh, I got that sense.
We're talking about Raya.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Raya. Raya and the Last Dragon. And so, yeah, I got that sense too, but I was like, I don't really know. But then we got confirmation that
it's not
actors.
Well, she thinks also. So it's not like necessarily a confirmation. She also believes it. There was no real... There might have been like this slight feeling like that, like when you watch it, but nothing was intentionally said.
Right. So because there's no like love story in the movie or whatever. Yeah. So that's fascinating too, because it's like really progressive. You know?
I think that's what they wanted, an open thinking where it's like, if you are like that, you may like find that connection. Right.
Yeah, totally. And that's also what I find really cool about Schitt's Creek, because like I know you haven't watched it, but like the whole reason why I got into the show is like the guy David, he won all these awards for like his portrayal of a gay character in a TV show,
right? And
how it was like normalized. So it made me like, okay, well, what did you do to win this award? And like watching it, I'm like, because I remember watching Brokeback Mountain back in the day, and I was like tripping out because it was like so aggressive. I was like, what is this? And, like, I was like legitimately freaking out when I watched it. I couldn't even continue the movie. Right. But then watching this one, I was like, this is a healthy portrayal of like a true love story. Like watching, spoiler alert, watching Daniel and Patrick's love story. Oh, David and Daniel's his real name. David and Patrick's love story in the show. It's like so genuine that you feel good for the characters,
right?
And there's no weird like ooh, they're gay kind of feeling. You know, it's just like it's a sweet love story.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I think it was like one of the first ones, but it's cool to see like Raya and the Last Dragon. They're trying to like introduce it. Maybe it'll become mainstream one day, you know?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and I think also like how at least all the voice stuff was done in their own houses.
Oh, that was also really cool. Yeah. Because of COVID.
Because of COVID, and I think the start of all the animation things started already within the team. I think only last year. Like they had to continue the rest of it working from home.
Right, totally. And then they finished it there. Yeah.
Right. So there must be some level that does affect the story in a way, right? Because you can only do so much.
Right. Because you're not like directly with your coworkers bouncing ideas off one another. You're like, you kind of meet up. You're like, we'll do this.
And you have other distractions when you're at home.
Yeah, totally.
Kids and everything that you can't really... Like it's a different environment when you're actually at work. You can get these ideas out.
Right, totally. Yeah, I noticed a couple moments in that movie where I was like, "Ooh, the animation is subpar right now." It didn't look like crisp, but like when you said that they did from home, I was like, "Okay, that makes sense."
Yeah, but still having a good. I felt it was a pretty good finished product. So
no, it was great. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I didn't like the movie, but visually, yes, it was great.
Okay. Yeah.
Go back and listen to that podcast if you want to see why I didn't like it. Yeah, I was gonna say something else about Raya and the Last Dragon. I remember it was like tangentially related. So the super straight thing, we gotta talk about this. So fascinating. So Arvel like messaged me, and then he's like, "Oh, there's this new thing called super straight," and I was like, "What is this?" It's a black square with an orange square. I don't know if it's like a legitimate thing, but then I actually saw people on social media using it. It's similar to like he, her, she, him.
Yeah.
But like when you looked into it, it was because like, and I'm saying it's because of technology now, you know, we have the ability to like change genders through technology, right? And
or express our genders.
Yeah, totally. Or your sexuality, because gender, like scientific, you're talking scientifically.
Well,
like,
I think
only really two genders.
I think they say gender. Yeah, but I don't know. I think the word gender is
Oh, sex, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Gender and sex. Okay, cool. So right. All right, so I'll go with that. I didn't know it was that. So yeah, your sex is male or female, but your gender is how you identify.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought this was so fascinating. So super straight is if you're, so you can be a male attracted to a female, but if that female, because you can identify as like a female, but you used to be a male, right? That is a zone. Like if you're like, oh, I am attracted to females, and then they're like, well, I am a female. And you're like, oh, but you used to be a male. And they're like, oh, you're
trans woman.
No, you're transphobic.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
They call the dude transphobic. So super straight is to clarify that you're born a male and you're only attracted to females who are born female.
Right.
It's just to create that separation.
Yeah.
I'm for it simply because technology is in that zone now where we don't even know in the future. You could be like half dog, half human. I always thought about that. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Right.
For real though, right? Like splicing. Right?
Yeah,
That's what that is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
It's
Animorphs. Was it Animorphs?
No, that was their robots and thinking.
Oh damn! No, there was one where they were changing into animals, right?
I don't remember.
It was like a book, I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with technology, like even though you're like, oh, super straight, that's so weird. Soon you might be like, freaking, I'm anti-beast or something, you know, like I'm pro-beast.
Right. That's Animorphs.
Oh, the show? Oh, so I was wrong. What's the?
No. I mean, what I was talking about, like people turning into animals.
Oh, I thought that was robots turning animals.
No. It's people.
Oh, so there you go. Yeah.
I think like Beast Wars you're talking about.
Beast Wars. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. But yeah, so I can agree with that. Like qualifying.
I get
super
it. Yeah.
Straight.
I do understand that.
Yeah.
Because it was people did feel like because I mean I watch a lot of these debates on Twitch, so it's more of the younger audience who are doing these things, and I see it like one person's like, no, I'm not gonna date someone who was a man before, but then they would call them directly, oh, you're transphobic.
Yeah, so you need.
But I'm like, I'm not transphobic. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I don't care what you do. Like
totally. So now you need this qualifier, which is super straight. It kind of made it sound weird though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but listening to also the Native American podcast, it's only now that we had this weird idea of because you know, like the Alan Turing thing, like it was illegal to be gay back in the day, right? So if you look at Roman time, like I was saying, it was normal, like it was just a thing, or Greek time was just a thing,
right?
Like there was no negativity about it. It was also a thing in Native Americans. I didn't know that. So they believed in spirits, right? Okay. So you know, LGBTQ2S. So like you know, LGBTQ.
Yeah.
So they added 2S recently.
Okay.
And that stands for two spirit. And I was like, what's a two spirit?
Oh.
And then listening to the podcast about Native Americans, that's what they call their people.
Oh, okay.
Two spirits.
Oh.
So like you can be, that's what they call their like transgender people, but they don't have the ability to.
Well, that's how they termed it.
Yeah.
That's
so
term, yeah.
you're born a male, but in your spirit is a female because they believe in spirits.
Right.
So
yeah.
So
that
again,
makes sense.
Yeah. Right. It makes sense. And then if you look into all of these ancient things, it's like, why is it only now that we made it illegal and we got brainwashed propaganda wise? Actually, no, we know why.
Yeah.
Catholic Church right there. Christianity.
Religion.
Well, no, I can't say religion. We gotta name it for what it is. It really is that.
Okay.
Because it's not religion, because technically Native Americans were religion.
Okay, sure.
Pagans are
True. Okay, all
but
right.
they were cool with that. It's only
Abrahamic religions.
It's only the Abrahamic religions that really separated.
Okay.
Because Abrahamic religions ruled Britain.
And then they colonized other parts, spreading.
So funny that we call it Abrahamic religions, but they don't even want to associate with one another. It's like, dude, you're all the same book. Like, come on, people of the book. Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah.
And okay, well, final thought in relation to
final
that.
thought, yeah.
Final thought. Yeah. So I was listening to. I read this book, Mind Over Muscle, the founder of Judo.
Okay.
And even in that, so something as basic as how to fight someone, right? His original purpose for Judo was to create better humans, right? Like build discipline, honor, respect, et cetera, et cetera. And then now, even in the book during his time, he was talking about how people were changing and they're only focusing on the martial art. They're forgetting about the characteristic values.
The original message.
So it's like what they say with like Jesus and Buddha. If Jesus and Buddha came back today, they would like either laugh or cry at what their philosophy had become. Because at the end of the day, it was just a philosophy.
Yeah.
So we do it. It's like human nature.
We will do it. We
forever.
will always do it.
Yeah.
Because we all have our own interpretations. That's what happens. Or using it for our own benefit.
Totally. Yeah.
That's
our biases.
Our biases. Yeah.
Yeah. So check your biases if you can, because implicit biases you can't check, which are systemic racism.
Right.
Power of the people. All right. That's all. Until next week. Take it easy, Vish.
You can murder revolution. Can't murder revolution.
Remember it. All right, bye.
All right, bye.
All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.